flooring models, kit review time. Today we've got Takom's brand new 1/35 scale AMX-13 or 75 version down here. This tank, I must admit, is one of those things which I knew nothing about whatsoever. I did a little bit of history on it, and yeah, it's actually very, very popular. Certainly been overlooked by a lot of things and got some weirdo features to it that actually still probably stand up well today. So actually what we got here, beautiful box art showing the Israeli Defence Force version of this tank. As you can see it there. It's a 2-in-1 kit, we'll talk about that in a moment. But basically it's saying it comes with photo etch and clear parts, individual tracks, God help us, 4 types of markings, we'll see in a minute, and the gun can pitch, and that's quite important, we'll talk about that in a moment. All the hatches can be open or closed. We've got it down here. So we've got the Israeli Defence Force 6-day war markings from 1967, and we've got the Venezuela, which is something you don't normally see. So this tank's been around a lot of countries. Okay, just down there. Your kit number for this one is 2036. Okay, and this is the one down. It does come in a couple of flavours, this one. As I say, we've got the 1375 here, we've got the 1390 down there, as you can see in there, and they've got other stuff, just talking about it in there as well. Kit layout, as you can see, the photo etch, sprues, various things in there. Okay, so in the box itself, we'll just peel the lid off and stick that over there. We have not too much going on in here. If we have a dive down, look in the old instructions first. So we've got all the bits and pieces, as you can see down here, stuck on the back. If I can find a way into the bag, it's slide opening. Okay, we just slip this out first. Those bits all out of the way. This is the tank we're talking about, and as I say, it was basically, it's the French light tank that came in, designed in the 1950s and all the rest of it. But I just want to point out there's 7,700 of these things produced. 3,400 were exported, and they went absolutely everywhere. So some of the operators are there. I'll just read some of these off. I've got just some of them. We've got Argentina, Austria, Belgium, where else are we? Chile, Cyprus, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Egypt, El Salvador, France, Guatemala, India, Indonesia, Israel, obviously we'll see here in a moment, Ivory Coast, Kuwait, Lebanon, Morocco, Nepal, Netherlands, Peru, Singapore, Switzerland, Tunisia, Venezuela, you name it, it's been around. So, and that's just some of them. Who knew? I didn't even know about this tank, so to see it's quite widespread is something else. Now it's quite a little booklet type one on here, so we've got sprue call out, we can see just down in here. CAD work drawings putting it together, and to say it's not a massive tank because it is a small one. Okay, even in 1/35 it's not going to be huge, alright, but basically we've got the torsion bars and suspension set going on there, road wheels going on, looks like we've got the old outer ring system for those going on, which could be a nice touch. Okay, then we've got top and lower hull going together, that front bar being put on just like that. Then we've got, looks like a little bit of photo etch going on at the top for the cooler, for the engine, for the grille and everything else. And then obviously we've got road wheels, things like that. Plates going on over the top, as you can imagine, making sure you remove or open up holes as is required. Extra track being situated down on the front, and then we've got all the little lights and the various bits and pieces all going on there, the stowage bins, as you can imagine, all over this one, and obviously eye loops, rings, things like that, all being put down there, tow eyes and everything. Some tools going in the back stowage bin. And then we are talking about the top turret. So depending on, I think, which versions you're going to do, standard version or the Israeli Defence version, depending about moving, opening up holes, closing up holes and things like that down in there. Okay, so just being aware of this one. And then obviously you've got your different types going right the way through. All right, so that is the thing with this one. Obviously different types of guns on the top as well. You've got your standard sort of Browning gun versus I don't know what that one is, something else down on there like that. And then obviously all the details being fitted on, as you can imagine with this one. And then the top turret going together, all the stowage items. Very nice that we've got things like the jerry cans, all of those being put in there, and then that are back on the ring. And then the front bits we've got on here, and this is what we're talking about. The entire turret traverses. It's not like you got a gun with a mantle going up and down. Bit different this, the entire thing would go up and down. Okay, so that's why you've got the skirt system on the lower part of the turret. Okay, as I said, something a little bit different from having the standard, just the gun moving on a mantle system on the front. Okay, so there we go, top part, lower parts going together. All right, just in there like that. I don't know if that's a correction or something stuck in my thing. I think it's supposed to be a correction there. Okay, gun barrel, two-piece split barrel going together and then being fitted on. Okay, and then the final little tools and various bits and pieces in the front. And then we got down here, we've actually got these put on, so we've got the front parts going on and the top turret and showing it into position. Okay, so as I said, not massive, and as you see from the parts in a moment, it's very small. Usual thing with all the Takom stuff these days, it's all done by MIG. So for the colour callouts, so as you can imagine, it's all the MIG ammo, so you're going to have to get your guides out to get the colours that you've actually got. So we got down in here, so who have we got? We've got the Israeli Defense Force standard type. Then we've got another standard type. Then we've got, sorry, that's the Lebanese one. Then we've got the Venezuelan one. As I say, I don't think I've ever seen anything in Venezuelan markings before. And then we've got the 6 Day War one as well, standard type, down on there. So something a little bit different from those. A photo etch is usually very, very good on these. Nice to see it's in a Ziploc bag. Just makes it easier getting it in and out. Okay, so as you can see, very nice piece of photo etch. You can see just down there. It's very thin as well, which is lovely with photo etch. The thinner is definitely better. Okay, so that is very nice. It would be nice to see if it was on a piece of card, just to stop it from bending, because you want to keep that as flat as possible. The decals I'm not going to bother getting out because they're not going to be anything too much, but as you can see, standard type of decals with there, very few. Got the Israeli markings obviously with the V and the white stripes, and then obviously that's the Venezuelan ones with the roundels putting down on there. Then the kit itself. So if we start in the lower hull, so to give you an idea of scale, this will probably fit in the side cam. Okay, which normally we don't get things like this in here, but yeah, there we go. As you can see, not much detail to be honest, and it's extremely thin plastic. That's probably the thinnest tank of plastic I've seen. It's like 1mm thick. Generally, nothing much too going on down here. We've got some of the various hatches, things like that, and obviously all the bits for the gear going in. Yeah, got some, I don't know if they're supposed to be moulding all the way through. It just might be, got a couple of holes, you might see them down there. It's gone all the way through. Doesn't matter, but there we go. Here we go, we've got the top turret. Again, it's very small, so it's very hard to sort of pick faults in it and all the rest of it because of the scaling effect. But the weld lines, we have got some weld lines. Hopefully you can see them down on there, just running around on it, which are quite nice. So that's quite an interesting thing. The weld lines across the top and everything else. But you can probably see on here, it doesn't have a mantle like you would normally have. The gun itself, you know, normally, you know, with the actual height going up and down for the deflection, the entire thing goes up and down on this one, so a little bit different, and this is the reason why, which is very nice done because it's done in PVA. So you've actually got all of it crunched up down in there. The only thing is it's still going to be in one position, but there we go. That's the lower mantle which goes on the bottom part of this, so it allows for the deflection up and down, okay? Or the traversing of the actual turret itself. Then just about found a bag that fits by the look of it. Oh. So down in here, slightly bigger sprue. We got the top part, which you can probably see on the side cam. Some nice details on the top, nice and sharp, no problem at all. There's no flash whatsoever on this. All very nice, clean and moulded. Nothing underneath as we'd expect. But again, then as we make our way up, we can see here we got the actual skirts that are going to go over the top of the track system. Very nice. The details are nice and sharp. No problem with them. Then we're coming up, so we've got the lower part of the actual turret itself. Okay. Then we've got some stowage items. So we've got a pickaxe and a spade down there. We got the turret at the top, obviously with the glasswork that will go in the inside. Some spare tracks, nice and sharp. We got another piece of hatch there, and then lastly we got these guys, which are actually part of the, obviously I think that's the front or the rear And then with the lower part of the turret just down on there. On the blind side, nothing whatsoever as we might expect, but all the ejector pins are very clean, crisp, slightly sunken, which is quite a nice touch, but they are very close to the surface, so you know they're not going to interfere with anything at all. Even these guys down on here, which maybe you want to take a sanding stick just to them, because otherwise they're going to scratch somewhat on the top, okay, for the actual top of the hull over here. But generally, very nice. Okay, and then clear parts. This guy, we're going to have to open this out, so it's wider at one end than the other. Be careful, brand new blade in there. Okay, so some of the smaller parts, as you can see down on here, again, probably better off on the side cam. So we got the gun unit down there, stowage items, so we got the actual ammo tins, we've got that nice browning down there, that looks quite nice, and then all these other items working our way through, beautifully done. Even on the blind side, the moulding is very clean, crisp, sharp. Again, no real sign of flash or anything else that we would worry about at all on these parts, so it's very nice to see that they've been done nice and clean and crisp there on sprue F. Okay, so let's stick that in there so we keep it safe. Okay, road wheels. So we do have the tyre, or the rubber part, say tyre, it's not a tyre is it, but the rubber parts, we've got loads of these V ones as you can imagine, so we've got the parts down here. Generally they're all very nice, very clean, very crisp, the actual hubs themselves, when you look at them down on here, as you can see, nicely done. The bolt details, very crisp indeed. All of these other parts, no problem at all, and it is a nice easy fix. You can then just take this part, paint this black and stick it on the outside. I take it they are rubber on these, which they are. So yeah, but personally I think I'd still just glue it together and do it our usual way of using a template and just spraying it. I'm not sure this one actually comes with a template, but if it did, it'd be a nice touch. So we've got multiples of those, we've got 4 sprues of those. Okay, then next up we've got another duplicate, so we just whip the one out. Sprue J, again some nice details going down on here. So we actually got the sprocket for the drive itself, very nice indeed, no problem with that. And then again, probably easier on the side cam, we can see lots of details. The jerry cans are very nicely done with all the handles, the grab handles, beautifully moulded, no sign of flash, mismolds or anything else that we could get on much small parts like these. Very nicely done. The sprue gates, as they attach to the actual item, these smaller parts are absolutely tiny. This little guy up here with the J, you can hardly see how it touches it. Very nicely done, all of those. Beautifully moulded, very clean, crisp items. Okay, so down here we got the gun barrels, and this guy is sealed. Okay. So just down on here we've got that plating on the top, looks all very nice, and on the side the barrels themselves. Okay, looks very good indeed. Some of these smaller items down here, beautifully little moulded, very sharp details and all the rest of it. And there's nothing down on the blind side of this, you can imagine, on sprue C. And generally, I must admit, that's all very nicely done, no problem with that at all. The bolt heads are very sharp, which is a nice, good, clean mould and everything else like that. To be honest, we probably won't bother popping these out. So down here on K, we've just got the actual idler wheel, okay, and some lights off the back there. Pretty straightforward. Okay, last big sprue. Some more of the smaller details down on this one. So again, not many parts, but boy, lots of little details. So as you can probably see them all down here running down the side, lots of little bits and pieces, cleanly done. These hatches, some nice details on all of these. The stowage bins on the back, the exhaust system's nicely done. Considering it's small, it's beautifully moulded, very nice. But again, the great thing is with these, hopefully you can see how the actual attachment points to the tree on the sprue are absolutely minute, tiniest little way of doing it. In fact, some of them you might see here look like they're about to come off, they're that small. But all the parts are beautifully moulded. All of this barring system and everything else up around here is absolutely fantastic. Very nice job on all of this. And again, there's no flash on any of these tiny parts. And some of these parts are absolutely minute, like this guy up here and this one here are absolutely tiny, but they are beautifully done. No problem with that at all. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop this in here because I'm worried about that part coming off, and we'll bag it before it can go anywhere. Okay, and last up, the tracks, which don't look brilliant. So we'll just zip one of these out. Okay, there's two come out. So as you can imagine, these are all individuals, it's just tree holding them together. I'm not sure how these are going to interlace. I'm assuming there is nothing to hold them together. I can't remember what it said on the instructions for them. Let me just back up and have a quick check. Tracks. What is it saying about the track? Yeah, it is. It literally is. I could see it there, but I wasn't sure it is. They are literally just going to push together, and one would assume that these are not going to, and I'm just going to nip one off just to see. I bet these aren't actually a push, fit and hold. They're going to have to be done and glued, so you're going to have to hold and glue it as you go. Okay, there's so many different options on tracks at the moment, but this type of track, I think you might be hard pushed to find anything with. So I'll eat my hat. No, these aren't. These are literally just, it's going to be a job. PVA glue would be my chosen way of doing this, but they are literally just going to sit in together, but they don't actually, there's no way of actually locking it together. They're very nice done track, don't get me wrong, it's just it'd be nice if this day and age they could click in almost. The manufacturers seem to be making it happen more and more, and it just makes doing tracks so much easier. But unfortunately, these are literally just a push fit. Okay, and there we go. So that is it. Very small tank, not much going on down here, but as I say, small and perfectly formed, and definitely a tank that has been overlooked as far as I'm concerned, because I've never even heard, seen or anything about it. But with over 7,500 of these running round and sort of almost 4,000 exported, obviously it has its part in the actual history of light armoured tanks and everything else. So there we go, that is the AMX 1375 1/35 scale by Takom.